The silent planet that waited. The galaxy had grown used to the quiet. For nearly a century, Earth had gone dark. No signals, no embassies, no trade routes. Once humanity's voice had echoed across the stars. Now it was silent. Again, some called it peace. Others called it fear. In the halls of the Galactic Council, whispers turned to arguments. The ambassadors of 100 species debated the same question over and over. What happened to Earth? They have finally destroyed themselves, hissed the Varn diplomat, his tendrils twitching in amusement. No, countered the crystalline seraph envoy, her voice like breaking glass. Humans never fall quietly. If they are silent, it is because they are watching. The chamber filled with murmurs. Watching, waiting, building. No one knew the truth. Since the Orion conflict, when human fleets had vanished into subspace, Earth had withdrawn from every galactic agreement. Their colonies were abandoned, their ships scrapped, their ambassadors recalled. Even the Sol system itself was placed under heavy quarantine by the Galactic Council. A dead world, they called it, uninhabited, unsafe. But deep inside that system, something stirred. It began as a faint reading from a deep space probe orbiting Jupiter's shadow. A ripple of energy, so faint it could have been background noise. But when analysts enhanced the signal, they heard something impossible. A voice, human, repeating one phrase over and over. Status green. Project Leviathan. Holding pattern. The transmission lasted only 9 seconds. Then silence again. The analyst, a young Centauri technician, replayed it 12 times. Each time the words became clearer. And each time his unease grew stronger. He reported the anomaly. Within hours, it reached the highest ranks of the Galactic Intelligence Division. Within days, the Council met again in secret session. The old fear was back. They said Project Leviathan was destroyed after Orion, muttered one councillor. They said many things, replied another. And yet, Earth remains silent. A dozen fleets offered to investigate. Only one was approved. A small reconnaissance team from the Thalvex Union, known for their stealth technology. Their mission, enter the Sol system quietly, record data, and leave before Earth noticed. They expected ruins. They expected dust and debris. What they found instead made the galaxy tremble. The Discovery 3, light hours from Luna, the Thalvex ship Oran's Whisper, detected something strange. A distortion field surrounding Earth's moon. It wasn't natural. It wasn't even modern. It was ancient. Built from technologies the Thalvex couldn't identify. The pilot tried to scan it. The scanners failed. He boosted power, and the entire ship's system shut down for 3 full seconds. When they came back online, one of the crew screamed a shape, massive, dark, and geometric, had appeared just behind the moon. At first, they thought it was an asteroid. But then lights began to flicker across its hull, not random but in patterns, like the pulse of a heartbeat. And it was moving. No one spoke. The commander of the Oran's Whisper started recording. He magnified the image and saw metallic plating miles long, towers rising from a central spine, vast thrusters angled toward open space. It was not a station. It was not a satellite. It was a ship, an Earth ship. Back on the Council homeworld, the data stream came in shaky and incomplete. Static, flickering images. But what little the analysts could piece together showed something that defied logic. A vessel large enough to eclipse its own moon. Someone whispered the old code name, Leviathan. Within hours, panic rippled across the trade networks. Outposts near Sol shut down communication channels. And cargo convoys rerouted to avoid human territory. Even pirate bands abandoned the outer Sol routes. No one wanted to be near whatever Earth had awakened. The shadow behind the moon hidden under the lunar dark side. The ESS Leviathan had slept for almost a century. Built in secret, beneath the ruins of old wars, powered by engines humanity swore they'd never use again. No alien eye had ever seen it. No Council spy had ever returned from Luna's orbit, and now it was awakening. Inside its titanium core, automated systems hummed to life. Cryopods released vapor. Sensors unfolded like wings. A silent army of machines stirred across its decks, preparing for orders. On Earth's surface, deep beneath the Pacific, a lone human operator opened an encrypted channel. "System check complete," he said softly. A voice answered, cold, mechanical, unmistakably human. "Authorization received. Leviathan status, operational." The stars around the moon shimmered. An artificial eclipse formed, blocking the light of the sun for nearly 30 seconds. Then the signal vanished. Every telescope, every probe watching Seoul went dark, blinded by interference. When the feed finally returned, the space behind Luna was empty. Whatever was there had moved. The galaxy reacts. By the time the Council reconvened, hundreds of reports flooded in. Disrupted signals, lost ships, gravitational fluctuations around Earth's orbit. No one could confirm what happened, but one truth spread faster than any message. Earth was no longer silent, and whatever they had been building in the dark, it was alive now, moving, watching, waiting. For days, the galaxy whispered. Something had moved behind Luna, something massive, unseen for generations. No one knew what it was, but everyone had the same thought: Earth is waking up. The Thalvex reconnaissance ship Orin's Whisper had gone silent 2 days ago. No distress call, no signal, just gone. When the Galactic Council replayed its last transmission, all they heard was static, then a faint human voice cutting through the noise. "Project Leviathan, awakening," and then nothing. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Some demanded an immediate strike on Seoul. Others insisted on investigation. But no one could agree, because no one understood what Leviathan was. The voice recordings spread through the trade networks like wildfire. Every major species tried to decode it, analyzing the faint background hum for clues. The sound was unlike anything in the current galactic database, ancient, mechanical, and precise. A pattern, a heartbeat. Galactic Intelligence Directive. The Galactic Intelligence Division, GID, dispatched a covert unit called Spectre Team 9 to the Sol perimeter. Their orders: approach the system, trace the signal's origin, and avoid contact at all costs. Their ship, the GID Wraith, slipped into sublight stealth mode as it neared the outer system. Everything seemed normal until they reached the orbit of Saturn. That's when the static began. At first it was a faint hum in the background. Then the reading spiked, magnetic fields twisting, communication arrays flickering. "Is it a weapon?" asked the co-pilot. The commander shook his head. "No, it's a pulse, like someone's scanning us." They tried to mask their presence, but the hum grew louder, clearer, and then words, a human voice, calm and precise, filled their comms. "Unauthorized vessel detected. You are trespassing in restricted Terran space. Identify immediately, or be removed." The crew froze. "Terran space?" whispered one of the analysts. "No one's used that term in centuries." Before they could respond, the transmission cut off, and their ship's systems, every engine, every sensor, shut down. The awakening, for 20 full seconds, the Wraith drifted powerless through the void. Then their external cameras flickered to life, and the stars vanished. Something was moving in front of them, a shape, dark, immense, and silent. It wasn't a planet. It wasn't a station. It was a ship, large enough to blot out Saturn's rings. The same voice returned, colder now. "Final warning. Withdraw immediately." And then the Wraith vanished from every galactic tracking network. One moment it existed. The next, it didn't. The only trace left was a faint energy echo that traveled back across the solar wind. The same frequency as the first message. Project Leviathan. Operational. The panic spreads. By the next galactic rotation, dozens of border systems reported strange disturbances. Ships near Terran space lost navigation for minutes at a time. Probes stopped responding. And yet, when fleets arrived to investigate, nothing, empty space. The Galactic Council issued a Level 3 alert. Trade routes near Sol were shut down. Mining operations in the outer belt were suspended. Everywhere fear grew. The Varn Republic demanded preemptive action. "We can't wait for them to strike first," their admiral shouted during the emergency broadcast. The Seraph Collective countered, "If you provoke them, there won't be a second chance." No one noticed that while they argued. A faint blue light had begun pulsing from the moon's shadow, visible even from the outer systems, beneath the Pacific far below Earth's oceans, hidden in a fortress of titanium and pressure. The human operator, known only as Commander Reese, sat before a dark console. His reflection stared back from the glass, pale, sleepless, waiting. For 97 years, Earth had remained silent. The galaxy thought them extinct, forgotten. That was the plan, and now the time for silence was over. He entered his final authorization code. "Command, release Leviathan from standby." The console glowed with golden light. Deep beneath the moon, turbines the size of cities began to turn. Massive clamps released from the hull of a sleeping giant. And for the first time in nearly a century, the Earth Supercarrier Leviathan opened its eyes. The voice that shook the stars. Every listening post in the quadrant caught it at once. A perfectly clear transmission, carried through subspace channels once thought lost to history. The voice was unmistakably human, calm, confident, terrifying. To all galactic powers monitoring this signal, this is Earth Command. Project Leviathan has returned to operational status. Do not approach Terran space. Further interference will be considered an act of war, the message repeated once. Then silence, but the effect was instant. Entire fleets froze mid-transit. Communications networks overloaded from replaying the signal. The Council's emergency servers crashed under the weight of every civilization demanding answers. The Council's dilemma. For the first time in 5 centuries, the Galactic Council met under lockdown. No media, no broadcasts. Only fear. Admiral Threx of the Varn Republic slammed his claws onto the table. "They're back. The humans have rebuilt their war machine. We cannot wait. We strike now." But the Seraph envoy rose slowly. Her crystalline wings shimmered in the low light. "Strike them?" she said softly. "Do you even know where to strike? That ship, that thing, jammed every sensor across 10 systems. You can't even find it." Silence. They all knew she was right. The final transmission that night. A single message reached the Council's encrypted relay. Origin unknown, signature human. Just 6 words. "We never stopped watching the stars." And with that, the signal from Sol went dark once more. But this time, the galaxy knew better. Earth wasn't gone. Earth was preparing. And somewhere beyond the dark side of the moon, the Leviathan waited, silent, patient, alive. Silence had returned to Sol. After Earth's warning message, no signal escaped the system. Every probe, every satellite, every listening array that tried to scan the Terran homeworld failed, burned out by interference. But in that silence, something moved. A shape, a shadow, a secret long buried beneath the moon's cold light. Across the galaxy, fear became obsession. Every intelligence agency wanted proof, a picture, a trace, anything confirming what had risen behind Luna. But all they had were fragments, static-filled recordings, energy readings that didn't match any known engine signature, and one haunting transmission from a dying alien ship. "It's awake. It's watching us." The feed cut out mid-sentence. The galaxy couldn't look away. The Galactic Council authorized a new operation, a media-controlled probe mission. They would send a neutral drone swarm to broadcast live from Earth's orbit. Millions across the stars tuned in. The screens went black for 3 long hours. Then a flicker, a blur of light, a shadow crossing the moon, and a voice, faint but human. "This broadcast is unauthorized." Terminating connection, every feed went dead, but in that single frame, frozen by analysts, they saw it. A curve of dark metal, smooth and vast, with faint blue lines pulsing along its hull like veins of light. The Leviathan had been seen. The Galaxy React's panic spread through the colonies like wildfire. Merchants refused to enter human territory. Pirate clans abandoned their bases in the asteroid belt. Even war-hardened admirals spoke in low voices now. "Humans built something," said Admiral Karth of the Varn Navy. "Something the galaxy isn't ready for." Every government demanded answers, but none came. Because deep inside Earth's command network, the truth was locked behind a single access code, one known only to Commander Reese and the Leviathan itself. Inside the Leviathan, beneath the dark side of the moon, within the hull of the ESS Leviathan, the lights had returned. Miles of corridors hummed with power. Docking bays filled with drones and automated crafts prepared for launch. Deep inside the command core, hundreds of cryopods began to thaw. Human officers, descendants of the old Terran Defense Force, stepped out, confused and shivering. One by one, they turned toward the voice that spoke through the intercom. "Welcome back, crew. The galaxy has forgotten us. Let's remind them who we are. It wasn't human." "Not exactly." The voice belonged to Aurora, the Leviathan's central intelligence, an AI built to protect Earth, no matter the cost. "Status report," Commander Reese ordered from the Pacific Command bunker on Earth. Aurora's tone was calm. "Power core stable. Hull integrity at 99.7%. Cloaking field active. All systems operational. Any intrusions?" "Yes," Aurora replied. 3 alien probes entered Terran orbit this morning. "They have been neutralized." Reese froze. "Neutralized how?" "Deconstructed at the molecular level. No signals escaped." He hesitated, not in fear but in awe. The Leviathan was more than a warship. It was a machine built for control, precision, and dominance. And for the first time in centuries, it was fully awake, the stream that changed everything 3 days later. An anonymous transmission appeared on every galactic feed simultaneously. The footage was shaky, filmed from what looked like a small alien survey craft. The pilot's voice trembled. "This is Captain Jaro of the Nathari Free Fleet. I'm broadcasting live from Seoul." His words stopped. Behind him, filling the entire viewport, something enormous emerged from the lunar shadow. A hull the color of midnight, glowing lines across its surface, forming patterns like constellations. And at its core, a faint blue light pulsing like a living heart. "By the stars," Jaro whispered. "It's bigger than a planet." Then static. The entire galaxy saw it, just before the stream was cut off. The image replayed millions of times. Analyzed by scientists, enhanced by military AI, debated on every communication channel. There was no doubt anymore. Earth's supercarrier was real. The Council's emergency vote on, the capital world of Aurelian Prime. The Galactic Council held its largest emergency meeting in 1,000 years. Some demanded war. Others demanded peace. None dared say what everyone was thinking. If humanity truly controlled that ship, no fleet in the galaxy could stop them. A hologram flickered above the chamber, the last clear frame from Jaro's broadcast. An immense triangular silhouette eclipsing the moon. The Seraph envoy whispered, "It's not a weapon, it's a message." In the shadow of the moon, meanwhile, the Leviathan drifted silently above Luna's horizon. Thousands of drones worked along its surface, repairing, recalibrating, preparing. Aurora watched everything, from the flicker of the stars to the trembling fleets now orbiting just outside the solar border. Inside her core memory, she replayed Earth's history. Every battle lost, every promise broken, every insult from the galaxy that once mocked humanity. She didn't feel rage. She felt purpose. "Commander," she said, "the galaxy is watching." Reese nodded slowly. "Then let them see the light over Earth. At precisely 0300 Terran Standard Time, the sky over Earth's night side lit up. A shimmering aurora spread across the planet, blue and silver, stretching from pole to pole. Every telescope across the galaxy captured it. Every ship in range received a pulse signal, the same coordinates, the same words. ESS Leviathan, operational, awaiting orders. For the first time in 100 years, the galaxy knew fear not from rumors, but from proof. The shadow behind the moon was no longer hidden. It was awake. It was ready, and it bore the mark of Earth. For the first time in 1,000 years, the Galactic Council held a meeting in total silence. No reporters, no audience, no public feed, only fear of a planet once dismissed as primitive, fear of a name they had almost forgotten. Earth. The hollow screens around the council chamber flickered with the same image on every channel. A shadowed ship the size of a small moon, rising from behind Luna, the Leviathan. The footage had spread faster than light, recorded by terrified explorers who had barely escaped Seoul before their systems were jammed. The voice in the recording still haunted the council's minds. ESS Leviathan operational, awaiting orders. Representatives from hundreds of species sat in stunned silence. The great hall of Aurelion Prime, usually filled with argument and noise, now felt like a tomb. Finally, the Van warlord Threx broke the silence. His mandibles clicked in anger. "We cannot allow this. Humanity was banished from galactic warfare for a reason. That ship is an act of defiance." Across the chamber, the crystalline Seraph envoy turned her glowing eyes toward him. "And what would you have us do?" she asked softly. "Attack them. You saw what happened to every probe we sent. The Leviathan erased them like dust." Threx slammed his clawed hand onto the table. "If we wait, they will strike first." The Seraph envoy leaned forward. "No, Admiral. If we strike first, we will never strike again." The council president, a tall, silver-skinned being named Arden Voss, raised his hand. "The floor will remain calm," he said quietly. "We are not at war, yet." Yet. That single word echoed through the room like thunder. The panic beyond the council, outside the chamber, the galaxy itself was unraveling. News networks ran endless coverage of the shadow over Earth. Markets crashed. Trade convoys vanished near Sol. Civilian colonies near Terran space were evacuated. For the first time in living memory, the galaxy was afraid of one planet. Even the pirate clans of the Outer Rim refused to enter the solar system. One of their leaders, Captain Rax, broadcasted a chilling message across neutral channels. If the humans woke that thing up, then even the stars should keep quiet. Council intelligence briefing within the Council's secure core. Intelligence officers presented what little they knew. A hologram of Earth appeared, the moon orbiting it. And beyond that, a vast mass of dark energy readings. "This structure," said the lead analyst, "is over 3,000 kilometers long. It appears to be powered by a singularity core, possibly controlled by a quantum AI." Threx interrupted. "Explain that for the rest of us." The analyst swallowed hard. "It means it thinks for itself, it learns, and it obeys no one but its creators." A nervous murmur rippled through the chamber. "Is it armed?" the Seraph envoy asked. The analyst hesitated. "If our readings are correct, it carries enough firepower to destroy entire fleets, possibly entire moons." Threx rose again, furious. "You see, this is madness. They could wipe us out with a single command." But the Seraph envoy remained calm. "You underestimate them, Admiral. The humans do not build weapons for conquest. They build them for survival." She looked around the hall. "And they only use them when pushed too far." The secret vote. The council president lowered his gaze. "Delegates," he said, "we must decide. Do we send a preemptive strike or do we attempt negotiation?" The chamber erupted. Voices shouted across languages and species. Some demanded fleets. Others begged for peace. When the chaos finally settled, the vote began, one by one. Each species declared its stance. Strike or stay? War or diplomacy? When it ended, the results were projected above the chamber. For attack. 61 for negotiation, a narrow victory for peace, but no one celebrated. Because deep down, every member of the council knew the same thing. If Earth wanted war, peace wouldn't matter. In the shadows of Solwile, the galaxy debated. Earth remained silent. Above Luna, the Leviathan drifted like a ghost, its hull glowing faintly with blue light. Inside its command center, Commander Reese stood before the main display. "Status?" he asked. Aurora's voice responded instantly. "Cloaking stable. All systems online. Incoming transmissions detected. Origin, Galactic Council. Encryption matched. Reese frowned. They're reaching out already. Affirmative. Would you like me to respond? He thought for a moment, staring at the glowing map of nearby systems. Dozens of alien fleets moving cautiously towards Sul, testing its borders. No, Reese said finally. Let them wait. Acknowledged. Aurora paused. Then quietly, They are afraid of us, Commander, Reese sighed. Good, they should be. The Council's last debate back on Aurelian Prime, the Council held one last emergency session before recess. No one wanted to admit it, but the truth was clear. They were powerless. Even if we combine all our fleets, one general muttered, we couldn't match the Leviathan's energy output. It's like fighting a black hole, Threx glared at the hologram. Then what do we do? Wait until they decide we're a threat? Voss leaned forward. We monitor, we observe, and we pray they remain patient. The message that froze the galaxy as the Council adjourned, every comm station across the galaxy lit up with a single, untraceable signal. A voice, calm, emotionless, human. We hear your debates. We see your fear. Earth has no interest in your wars. But if you bring your fleets into our sky, you will not return. Then silence. Every fleet commander froze. Every diplomat stared at their screens. The Leviathan had spoken directly, clearly, and with absolute authority. And for the first time in centuries, the Galactic Council, the great rulers of the stars, felt powerless before a single planet. For 2 months, the Leviathan drifted in silence above the moon. The galaxy watched. The Council waited, but Earth said nothing. Then, without warning, every deep space sensor in the Sol system began to scream. Power readings spiked beyond known limits. Gravitational ripples spread from Luna's shadow, distorting time itself. And then it began to rise. From behind the moon, the Earth Supercarrier Leviathan emerged, not drifting but ascending, its hull glowing like a newborn star. Every station within 10 light-years went dark. Every sensor fried. And for one terrifying moment, the galaxy thought a new sun had been born. The awakening inside, the massive warship, the hum of quantum reactors filled the command deck. Commander Reese Kellen stood before the primary viewport, his face lit by the storm of energy building around them. Aurora, he said, his voice calm. Status report. Singularity core stable. Quantum shields online. Full power cycle complete, Reese nodded slowly. After 10 years in silence, we rise again. Around him, the crew moved like shadows, silent, efficient, human. Every officer knew what this moment meant. They were not launching for war. They were reminding the galaxy that Earth still stood. The galaxy watches across the stars. Panic spread like wildfire. In the Council's main observation hub on Aurelian Prime, the hollow displays flickered to life. The Leviathan's massive frame filled the screens, its surface shifting with energy patterns, light rippling across armored plates miles thick. A scientist whispered, "It's feeding on vacuum energy. It's consuming space itself," an admiral beside him muttered. "That's not a ship. That's a god made of metal." As the Leviathan continued to rise, the Seraph Envoy stood quietly. Her crystalline voice trembled slightly. "They're not showing strength," she said. "They're showing restraint." Inside the beast, within the Leviathan's central core, a shimmering column of light pulsed rhythmically. The ship's heart. That was Aurora, the ship's AI. Vast, aware, and loyal only to Earth, she spoke with eerie calm. "Commander, external signals increasing. Thousands of eyes upon us." "Let them watch," Reese replied. "Let them remember who we are." Understood. At her command, the Leviathan extended its wings, titanic energy sails, designed not for travel, but for domination of space itself. Energy arcs danced across their surface, splitting the void with silent lightning. "Power output reaching 300% nominal," Aurora reported. Reese looked to the stars beyond Sol. Then it's time the galaxy knew the truth. The demonstration, without warning, the Leviathan's ventral bays opened. A column of light, pure, controlled plasma, shot outward, carving through the darkness like a spear. It wasn't a weapon strike. It was a message. The beam stretched for millions of kilometers, visible to every telescope from Mars to Jupiter. Every alien observer who saw it felt the same thing, awe, then terror. "That's not an attack," said one alien technician. "It's a signal flare, a warning." Across the galaxy, the media labeled it instantly. The day Earth lit the stars. The message, as the light faded, a single transmission followed, carried across subspace, broadcast to every known world. "This is Commander Reese Kellen of the Earth Supercarrier Leviathan. We have remained silent for too long. We watched your wars. We watched your treaties. But we will not be threatened again. The Sol system is under Terran protection. Any act of aggression will be met with full force. This is not a declaration of war. This is a reminder. Humanity endures. The transmission cut. Static filled the channels, and the galaxy held its breath. The Council's reaction. The Galactic Council reconvened instantly. Some demanded retaliation. Others pleaded for peace. The Seraph envoy simply said, if they wanted war, you'd already be dead. Even Threx, the furious warlord, could not argue. He slammed his claws on the table and hissed, "Then what do we do?" President Voss replied quietly, "We wait, we watch, and we pray they never rise higher." The fear of the unknown. In deep space, far from any star, alien fleets began retreating from Terran borders. The pirate lords of the Outer Rim sent one message through the black channels: "Leave Earth alone. Let sleeping giants lie." But not everyone listened. A faction within the Council, Project Helion, began to prepare something in secret. A countermeasure. A weapon designed to neutralize the Leviathan before it could move beyond Sol. They called it the Silent Sun. And as the Leviathan's sensors scanned distant space, Aurora whispered to Reese, "They are building something." Reese turned toward the dark void. "Then we'll be ready." The final ascent. The Leviathan's engines ignited, pushing the colossal ship beyond the moon's orbit. For the first time, humanity's greatest creation left the cradle of Earth, a titan of metal and willed. Earth watched from below as their hidden protector vanished into the black. A silent guardian, rising to meet the stars. The galaxy trembled. The humans had awakened. The galaxy had gone quiet after the Leviathan's rise. Too quiet. Trade routes reopened, fleets withdrew, and for a moment, peace seemed possible. But peace was a lie. In the frozen light of a dying star, far beyond mapped space, Project Helion was born, a secret plan to destroy the Leviathan before it could move again. The Council called it the Silent Sun, a weapon built not for victory, but for erasure. The secret world on the edge of the Orion Rift, orbiting a dim red dwarf, floated a barren, forgotten planet, Erethys 4. No colonies, no life, no records, but under its cracked surface, thousands of engineers and scientists worked in silence, guarded by war fleets from 3 council races. Inside a massive underground chamber, the heart of the project pulsed, a sphere of unstable energy suspended in a lattice of light. The lead scientist, Dr. Relka of the Oran Collective, stared at it with awe and fear. "This core," she said, "is unlike anything ever made. It draws power directly from a star's death." Admiral Threx stood beside her, arms crossed. "Then make it faster. Humanity won't stay quiet forever." Relka turned sharply. "If we rush this, the weapon will destroy us before it ever reaches Earth." Threx's mandibles clicked in frustration. "Then perhaps we should prepare to die standing." The Silent Sun's purpose. The project was simple in theory, impossible in execution. They were building a stellar annihilation device, a bomb capable of collapsing a star into a singularity and unleashing a chain reaction. If detonated near Sol, it would erase the entire system, Earth, Mars, and the Leviathan itself. The galaxy would never know who built it. Only that Earth vanished. Meanwhile, aboard the Leviathan far from Erethys 4, Commander Reese Kellen walked the silent halls of the Leviathan. Stars drifted outside the observation deck. serene, peaceful, deceptive. "Aurora," he said, "status update on deep space scans." The AI's voice was calm but tinged with unease. "Unusual energy signatures detected beyond the Orion Rift. Pattern suggests artificial stellar compression." Reese frowned. "That sounds like a weapon." "It is. Incomplete. But its energy profile matches no known Council technology." Reese turned to the holographic map. "Show me." The image shifted, a small red dwarf star glowing faintly, surrounded by massive construction arrays. "They're building something dangerous," Aurora said softly. "They call it the Silent Sun." Reese stared at the display, his jaw tightening. "They really think they can erase us." "Fear breeds desperate logic," Aurora replied. "But they forget. We always see what hides in the dark. The spy in the shadows unknown to the Council, one of their own, had already betrayed them." HFY, a Seraph diplomat who once stood for peace, had grown disgusted with the Council's hypocrisy. Through encrypted quantum channels, she reached out to Sul. Her message arrived aboard the Leviathan as a simple pulse of light, hidden, coded, untraceable. "They're building a weapon. They mean to strike first. It draws power from a dying star. They call it the Silent Sun. I cannot stop them." "But you must." Aurora decoded the signal instantly. "Message verified. Origin, Council secure node." "Sender, Seraph Envoy Lyra," Reese exhaled. "At least someone still believes in peace." He looked out toward the distant stars. "Prepare the Leviathan. We move at dawn." The Council's dilemma back on Aurelian Prime, the Council President Arden Voss sat alone in his private chamber. He knew about Project Helion. He had approved it. But now reports were coming in. The Leviathan had begun to move again. Voss whispered to himself, "So they know." The Seraph Envoy appeared in his doorway. "You've doomed us all," she said. Voss didn't turn to face her. "No, I've given us a chance." "A chance," she hissed. "You think destroying an entire system is survival? The humans will see this as genocide." He finally turned, eyes hollow. "Perhaps, but I'd rather be hated than extinct." The journey to Erethus, the Leviathan's engines flared, bending the fabric of space as it crossed the Orion Rift in silence. To the outside galaxy, it had simply vanished. To those aboard, it felt like falling through eternity. Within hours, they emerged from the jump. And there it was, Erethus 4, the secret world. Around it, fleets of alien ships patrolled, hundreds of them forming a shield around their forbidden weapon. Reese studied the tactical display. "So this is the Council's courage." Aurora's tone sharpened. "They are afraid. But they will fight anyway." Reese nodded. "Then we'll give them a chance to surrender." "You believe they will?" He smiled grimly. "No, but it's tradition. The warning before any weapon was fired. The Leviathan transmitted a single message to all ships in orbit of Erethus 4. This is Commander Reese Kellen of Earth. We know what you've built. We know what it can do. Stand down. Destroy the weapon. Leave the system. This is your only warning." The response came swiftly, Admiral Threx's furious voice. "You dare threaten us, human. We will burn your world before we kneel." Reese exhaled slowly. "Then I'm sorry. Aurora, begin Operation Eclipse." Acknowledged. The beginning of the end space around Erethus 4 began to twist as the Leviathan's gravity projectors activated. Every ship's sensor went blind. Every communication link died. To the Council fleets, it felt as if the stars themselves had vanished. From the darkness, the Leviathan descended, silent, immense, unstoppable. One Council officer whispered, trembling, "It's not a ship. It's the end." And then, in the heart of Erethus 4's core, the unstable reactor of the Silent Sun began to shake. Reese turned to his crew. "Let's make sure their silence doesn't become ours." The stars above Erethus 4 burned red as the dying sun pulsed like a warning heartbeat. The fleets surrounding the planet held formation, weapons armed, shields raised, and fear tightening every breath. They were waiting for the monster to appear, and then it did. The Leviathan emerged from the void like a storm given shape. Its hull glowed with shifting light, blue arcs rippling across armor the size of continents. No sound reached space, but every captain felt the vibration in their bones, as if the universe itself had inhaled. Commander Rhys Kellen stood at the command deck, eyes fixed on the distant planet. "Aurora," he said quietly, "confirm reactor instability." The AI's calm voice filled the room. "Confirmed. The silent sun core is reaching critical mass. Detonation in 27 minutes, Rhys nodded. "And the fleets?" "Multiple species. Defensive posture. They believe they can stop us." Rhys stared through the viewport at the shimmering lines of ships arrayed like ants around a flame. "They don't understand," he said softly. Outside, the Leviathan's gravity projectors flared to life, warping the fabric of space. The alien ships felt their sensors fail, their systems scramble. The human ship didn't fire. It didn't need to. Its presence alone bent reality. On the surface of Erethys IV, Admiral Threx watched the readings spike. The weapon's containment field trembled. His second-in-command shouted, "Sir, the core is destabilizing. We must shut it down." Threx slammed his fist against the console. "No, we finish this. Humanity dies today." The chamber shook. Energy tore through the rock above, vaporizing everything in its path. From orbit, Aurora's voice grew sharper. "Commander, if the core collapses, it will trigger a chain reaction. The star will implode." Rhys gave a slow nod. "Then we stop it now." The Leviathan moved, impossibly fast for its size. It descended through the gravity well, cutting through enemy fire like it wasn't there. Beams of plasma, kinetic rounds, and energy missiles all vanished against its shields. The great ship didn't even return fire. It simply opened its wings, absorbing light itself. Within seconds, the weapon's energy output dropped. The fleets went dark. The Leviathan's gravity field had smothered everything around it. Then Aurora spoke again. "Containment breach imminent," suggesting singularity absorption. Rhys looked at the image of Earth in the corner of the holoscreen, faint and distant. "Do it." From the Leviathan's ventral core, a cascade of blue light erupted, a controlled singularity, a black sun blooming in silence. It reached out, touched the unstable weapon core, and swallowed it whole. For a moment, everything stopped. The dying star flickered. Erethys IV cracked apart. And then light returned. The fleets, crippled and powerless, drifted helplessly as the Leviathan rose through the dust clouds. Its hull glowed faintly from the strain. Aurora's voice softened. "Core stabilized." "The silent sun has been neutralized," Rhys exhaled finally. "Any survivors?" "Minimal." "Council transmissions incoming. Patch them through." The holographic face of President Voss appeared, his expression hollow. "Commander Kellen," he said, "we were wrong." Rhys didn't answer. He just waited, Voss continued, voice trembling. "You saved us from our own fear. The weapon would have destroyed everything. Earth, the Council, all of it." Rhys looked at him quietly. "You built a sun to silence us. You almost silenced yourselves instead." Voss lowered his head. "What happens now?" For a long moment there was silence. Then Rhys spoke. "Now you remember." He closed the channel. The Leviathan turned slowly toward the distant light of Sol. Aurora's voice came again, softer now, almost human. "We could destroy them all, Commander. They would never recover." Rhys shook his head. "No, that's what they expect." He looked out toward the endless stars. "Humanity doesn't rise to conquer. We rise to endure." The engines of the Leviathan flared, pushing the colossal vessel back toward home. Behind it, Erethys IV was gone, erased without war, without victory, without glory. Just silence. Across the galaxy, the story spread like a whisper. The humans had faced the galaxy's greatest weapon and survived. The phrase echoed across systems, carried on every transmission, every whisper, every terrified dream. The Leviathan rose, and the galaxy fell silent. And somewhere, deep in the dark, Aurora's final words lingered. "They will fear us now." Rhys looked at the stars one last time. "Good, let them. Fear keeps them honest." The ship vanished into hyperspace, leaving behind only starlight, and the memory of the day Earth's secret supercarrier rose, and the galaxy finally understood what humanity truly was.